Winning is not a sometime thing, it's an all-the-time thing. You don't win once in a while, and you don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. You gotta play with your heart, with every ounce of fiber in your body. I've never known a man worth his salt who deep down in his heart didn't appreciate the grind, the discipline, and to win, and to win, and to win. It is and always has been an American seal, and that's to be first, regardless of what we do. There's no room for second place. There's only one place, and that's first place. I finished second twice in my time, and I don't ever want to finish second again. But I firmly hold that a man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment to anything he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lays exhausted on the field of battle, victorious.
Good evening, everybody. It is time to begin our 2013 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And I'd like to welcome everybody who is listening on Team 1010, KXPS, the mobile app. We have listeners around the Coachella Valley and viewers around the world as this is currently being broadcast on Team 1010 KXPS. You know, the Hall of Fame was established to recognize participants whose contributions to the profession of football and service to the game has been significant, substantial, and of course long-standing. And through its mission, the AAA Hall of Fame is committed to maintain recognition of a broad range of outstanding participants, honor by enshrinement those individuals and teams who have had exceptional careers, also exhibit commemorative plaques of inductees in a permanent space, and that's a great place to bring kids and connect generations. Of course, sponsor an annual banquet for the purpose of honoring new and past inductees into the Hall of Fame, and to the cause to be distributed information and promotional materials regarding the Hall of Fame to institutions, media outlets, and the general public, plus maintain fiscal integrity and accountability as an organization. That's the mission of the AAA Hall of Fame. Now, qualifications to be a Hall of Fame nominee: first of all, must be a former player, coach, administrator, or executive in or around the sport. And then nominees must have provided distinguished service to the sport over a substantial portion of their professional life. Nominees also must have made significant contributions to the profession. Each inductee must serve as a leader to the football community at large, working with outside organizations on behalf of the profession and serving as a superior role model for colleagues and youth. And again, that is something you'll see is quite the theme this evening, as not only is football a great game, but also a great conduit to effect wide-sweeping change in a community. The mission, above all, the AAA Minor League Football Hall of Fame is to preserve history, honor excellence, and connect generations. When it began inductions in 2004, it officially became the cornerstone of minor league professional football, honoring the greats of football's past. And now I'd like to introduce the host team of the AAA Football Hall of Fame, the SoCal Coyotes. The Coyotes embody the new era of modern AAA football minor leagues, based, of course, here in the greater Palm Springs area. The Coyotes are the 2013 champions of the United Football Alliance League, or the UFAL. It's a division of the Southern California Football Alliance. They've had 2 championships in 2 years, 10 free agents to pro camps in 2 seasons, 2 to the NFL in a single year, that was just this past season, a #1 offense in 3 different leagues in 3 back-to-back seasons, en route to their current UFAL title. And of course, nicknamed the Pride of the Desert, the SoCal Coyotes are the oldest pro football franchise in the Coachella Valley and have won more games in their first 3 seasons of play than any football team in desert history. We are very proud to have the Coyotes call the Coachella Valley home. Now, offensively, the Coyotes are a pure run-and-shoot team based strictly on the disciplines and concepts of Mouse Davis, who is with us this evening, whose theories, yeah, we'll be clapping for him a lot tonight. I just have a feeling. His theories date back to 1962, and for the most part, the Coyotes used the 1985 Denver Gold, that's the USFL playbook, with modern modifications and, of course, notes from Davis. On game day, the Coyotes give quarterback Nate Lewis the keys to the car. Lewis calls his own plays and audibles as constantly as the defense attempts to adjust. Most Coyotes pass routes are unspoken slight adjustments between the quarterback and his receivers, and they are a blast to watch. 3 players from the June Jones era of Hawaii's 2007 Sugar Bowl run are now Coyotes, including Dan Kelly, the kicker, right tackle Aaron Kia, and wide receiver Jason Rivers. Rivers is Hawaii's all-time leading receiver and will play for the Coyotes in 2014. But most importantly, the SoCal Coyotes are a nonprofit sports leadership organization. The Coyotes are dedicated to changing the culture of AAA professional football through player mentoring and development, organizational management, and dynamic service to their community. And as somebody who covers them on a regular basis, I can assure you this is all fact. The Coyotes exhort players to fulfill their human potential. Every player who enters the Coyotes program is asked to examine their personal values, opinions, and beliefs, and encouraged to practice daily ethical skills and competencies associated with effective leadership. And as a benchmark program that raises the competence, conscience, and compassion of its players, the Coyotes are also advocates and protectors for those less fortunate, challenged or struggling, and passionate about serving as community role models. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to introduce to you the gentleman whose vision started the SoCal Coyotes. And he is a AAA Hall of Fame board member, Coyote president, J. David Miller, and our first inductee in this 2013 Hall of Fame class. J. David Miller, please come on up.
I didn't used to need these just a few years ago, but I woke up one morning about 47 years old and all of a sudden I couldn't see, so I apologize. But I want to tell you that it's very humbling, first of all, to be around so much greatness tonight. It's far more than I deserve, and I have to begin by certainly putting God first. We do. If you know anything about the Coyotes, it's faith, family, and football, and we put God first in everything we do. And first and foremost, I just want to thank my Heavenly Father for the fact that I look at all these faces out here and I see all these wonderful faces on our team and the times that have changed since we started, and it's just so nice to give back. And the vision, you know, Julie mentioned vision, and when we began, I can tell you that Mouse Davis taught me many years ago that the definition of a pioneer is a man with arrows in his back, and we talked about that many times moving to this place, and I can tell you that in just 2 or 3 short seasons, to see a room like this packed with so many professionals and so many great people here, I want to thank you guys for attending tonight. Thank you very much for everybody around the world, around the nation, and certainly here in Coachella Valley. I also want to thank my family. I'd love to thank my wife, Lori Beth, wherever she is. Lori Beth, stand up. Lori Beth, as those of you that have worked with her on the phone throughout this event, she has been tireless in her efforts to help us organize this event, and certainly those of you that have worked with her know that for fact. I know my little girls are here somewhere in the room. Where are my girls? There they are, Kaylee Satsuko, Madison Elise. Thank you so much. And then I have to say, my oldest girls who are not with us tonight, I love them so much. Chelsea Rayanne and Savannah Bay, who's now a freshman over at Colorado, wish that they could be here, and we owe a lot to. Certainly, the girls have supported us through a hard road to get where we are. To move on with the program tonight, I'm not real comfortable talking about myself. I'd rather start deflecting all the praise, and then we get real comfortable with that. But leaders affect eternity because they never know where their influence stops. And the men you're going to meet tonight, they set standards with their leadership. And it goes way beyond points scored, but it's lives that are changed. And that's evidenced by the men and women that follow them. And one of the men that I'd like to introduce you to tonight is Dick Seuss. Dick is a man who has shaped AAA minor league professional football on every level. He is a man shaped by principles of management and leadership as a player, as a coach and commissioner with 4 different leagues, and a champion across continents. if you don't mind, please rise out of your chairs and stand with me as we give credit and honor and introduce Dick Seuss.
It's really an honor to be here, to see all of you, many players that I've coached, coaches that I've worked with, people that I've helped organize leagues with. And I'd like to tell you just a little bit about myself, who I am, who I was, and how I got to be involved in this sport. I was born and raised in Ohio, and of course I played football in Ohio. Everybody does. I was a defensive back, a punter, and a backup quarterback. And in my senior year, I played in an all-star game between Pennsylvania and Ohio called the Big 33 game. And I participated in that game. It was the one opportunity where colleges around the country could come in and see players play in person, because there was no television other than NFL games occasionally. There was no internet. Colleges didn't. A college in Ohio doesn't know what a high school in California doesn't know what a team is like in Ohio. There's no way of them knowing about it unless they actually physically came to see them play. And there were a lot of terrific football players at that game. And there were a lot of colleges there with booths set up, and you had a chance to go around and talk to them. And I remember that, of course, being from Ohio, Woody Hayes was a legend. They offered me a scholarship, and I noticed that there was a table with a sign on it that said University of Miami. Now everybody in Ohio and the Midwest has a dream that someday they're going to get the hell out of that cold weather and move down to Miami, right? So I walked over to them and I started talking to them, and they said, how would you like to come for a visit to Miami? Because you're the type of guy that we need. You can play more than one position. I said, I'm your man, you know. Let me know when you want me there. You want me to jump in my old car? I'll leave tomorrow. They said, no, we'll fly you down next week. So the day came, the ticket was in the mail. It was 8 below zero in Cleveland. I got on a plane. I got off the plane in Miami. It was 83 degrees.
And he's sold.
So the first place they took me was on campus. They had a student center, a round building, and it was sitting right in the middle of a lake, man-made lake, and around that lake they had sand, so the students could, you know, lay out.
Had you ever seen sand before to that point in your life, Dick?
No. And I stopped them right at the entrance to the walkway to get into the student center, because as I looked down, I saw a whole bunch of girls in bikinis laying around in that
Had you ever
sand.
seen girls in bikinis to that point in your life,
No,
Dick?
I never had. So I said, okay, I'll sign right now.
You know, it's
and I
interesting
did.
too, Dick, and I'm just going to jump in here really fast, because you played and coached at so many different levels. As you mentioned, the University of Miami. Also, you were drafted, mostly as a punter, but by the Dallas Cowboys. And then Tom Landry actually gave you an opportunity, along with a couple other players, to play minor league with the Orange County Rhinos. Was that your first introduction to minor league football?
Yes, that's how I got started. Tom Landry called me to his office at the end of training camp. In those days, there was only allowed 38 players. And he told me, Dick, he said, we like you. You're a really good punter. You're better than our punter, but we have to keep him. He's on a guaranteed contract for a year. He said, how would you like to play minor league football? And there were 3 other rookies there that he offered this to. We'll send you to Southern California. We'll pay you $200 a game and give you a place to live. Now, $200 back in the days at that, I mean, that was a lot of money. You could buy gas for 19 cents a gallon, rent an apartment for $200. So the 4 of us jumped in my car, went to Southern California, got on this team, and it was a good team. I mean, we were right in the championship, and 2 weeks before the season ended, a knock on my door, and there stood a coach from the Los Angeles Rams. And he said, we want you. We just lost our punter. They gave me a contract for $28,000 guaranteed, and I was gone, man. I was playing professional football. I stayed with the Rams for 5 years. I went on from there to work for them in a second term in their publicity department. And I was sitting in my office one day looking out. I could see a middle school with a football field. I was working late, and I saw a bunch of cars pull up and guys getting out with helmets and shoulder pads. And I knew right away it was a semi-pro football team, so I got down, went over and visited with them and asked them who they were. They told me. And they had been undefeated champions for 2 years, but their head coach owner was dying. They didn't know what they were going to do. So 2 hours later, I walked into the Rams office. I was now the owner, head coach, equipment manager, trainer, and publicity director for this semi-pro football team. And I just kept going with coaching after that. I really had no desire to stay in the organization.
And Dick, how much did your experience getting sent from the Cowboys because of a technical contract situation with another player, you got sent to California, got to see minor league football, and then saw the opportunity of how minor league football can develop a player and give him a shot at the pros. Did that help shape your philosophy and vision for the future of AAA football?
Very, very definitely.
Can you talk about that for a second?
You know, in my years of coaching, and I've coached in Southern California, Washington, just about everywhere, including England, and I've seen a lot of players that could probably play on the pro level, but for one circumstance or another, you know, they never went past high school, or, you know, they got married young and everything. They had the talent. And there's some of them sit right in this room now, you know. And I said, you know, I wish I could help those guys, and I'll do whatever I can. I've got some contacts, but I really love the game and I love the people. And people have said, well, why? What is it about this type of football that you love? It's because these guys work during the day. They drag themselves at home. Maybe they get a quick meal. They drag themselves out to practice. They practice 2 or 3 nights a week. They play on Saturdays. They have to buy their own equipment. They have to pay a team fee to play. And you got to love these guys, you know. And that's how I got started.
Dick, who were some of the football players, coaches, and administrators that really impacted you and influenced your perspective?
Well, the biggest impact I had was Tom Landry. I mean, when I went with the Cowboys, he was a class individual. I never saw him lose his temper. He never swore. He was a good Christian person. He treated everybody equal. He didn't care if you were a rookie or the star player on the team. You were treated with a respect from him. He never hollered at anybody, and he motivated people.
And Dick, thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, for the last 6 years, the #1 seed in the NFC has gone home after the divisional round. So we'll move on, though. We're very excited about tomorrow night's Hall of Fame game, so be sure to get your tickets. And if the All-Stars manage to shut out the Coyotes and Nate Lewis, not only will Nate Lewis fall under the table and probably never show his face again, but the Chevrolet Cadillac of La Quinta dealership is going to offer one lucky fan a free CTS. We have the general manager, Anthony Caridi, in here. Anthony, don't see him. Oh, there he is. There he is. Yeah, he's hiding under the table now, too. So he's hoping Nate Lewis can just score. Dan Kelly, of course, Hall of Fame, soon-to-be Hall of Fame kicker. He'll likely put some points on the board, too. All right, up next. Up next, it is time to showcase a little video here. And then we will proceed into our Hall of Fame inductions. So, Maestro, hit it.
Sanders in motion. Fowler, the running back. Kelly, and is Sanders. Look out, he may go. 30, 25, got some run. He's going to score. Houston Gamblers Chargers have just broken the San Diego Chargers' all-time record for total offense in a season.
I think we need to say a little bit about Darrell Davis, the offensive coordinator. He's put together an offense that may revolutionize pro football.
There's coaches throughout, whether it's the NFL or back in the USFL days, that sometimes they tell you, but they don't teach you. Mouse was a teacher.
The kids don't really consciously go out and try to set records. They go out and try to execute and do their job. And if they do that, everything else takes care of itself.
All right, Coach J. David Miller is not just a coach. He has collaborated and befriended some of football's brightest and best at every level, which has led him to affect the game he loves so much in his own way. He's an award-winning author of Super Agent, the one book the NCAA and NFL don't want you to read, along with Dr. Jerry Argovitz. Author also wrote Carolina Baseball, Pressure Makes Diamonds. He has been involved in 13 published books, including collaborations with numerous NFL coaches and players, including Jerry Glanville, NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion Hank Stram, third and long with former Cardinals All-Pro quarterback Neil Lomax, Hawaii Warrior football with current Southern Methodist head coach June Jones. He is author of more than 1,000 published articles, former pro football editor of Sport Magazine, frequently featured contributor to BleacherReport.com. He's a player and executive. In fact, Mouse Davis hired 4 coaches for the Arena Football League, and Miller played for one of them and was an executive for another. He had the distinction of playing for Joe Herring of the Pittsburgh Gladiators. He was senior vice president of the Arena Football League's Tampa Bay Storm under late head coach Tim Markham. And while Coach Miller's Coyotes have had massive success on the football field, it is his dedication and his passion to his players and his community off the field that has set him apart. The Coyotes organization under Miller places a premium on faith, family, and football. And the coach will tell you it's exactly in that order. They believe in building champions by building men, creating better fathers, better husbands, better friends, better community citizens through the football platform. And this mission of life is well traveled throughout the Coachella Valley and worldwide through the numerous lives he touches as part of his personal goal to evolve AAA football for the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, for a very special presentation, I'd like to call J. David Miller back up here.
Thank you, Julie. I give her a $20 bill every time she introduces me, just so you know.
Actually, 100, but he doesn't know that yet.
It's way more than that. You know, everything she just rattled off is because of the guy that you're about to meet. And this is a really, really special night for me. And yeah, I love to write, and I've written some things down that I'd like to share with you. There's a magic in football, and sometimes it's about chasing a dream that no one sees but you. Truth be told, had anyone paid close attention at the beginning, they might have realized that Mouse Davis really wasn't too far removed from football purists. This coach of a tiny high school from the foothills of Oregon, in a flash of offensive genius, created a wide-open, unstoppable offense and rode his idea all the way to the pinnacle of the sport, altering the way the game of football is played today. His revelation was incorporated from the revered philosophies of the game's greatest coaches, Paul Brown, George Halas, even Vince Lombardi. What Mouse Davis did was apply the tenets from these icons in a manner never before seen. Mouse saw the game through a prism and went counterclockwise to traditional thinking. And in an era of smash-mouth football, Mouse is the unlikely godfather of the potent but totally unorthodox four-wide receiver offense that he calls the run and shoot. And though he faced doubt and resistance and even animosity along a 50-year journey, he never wavered. And with the undoubting determination of a father figure, a light bulb smile, an infectious laughter, and powerful persuasion, Mouse traversed the road less traveled by. And his ideals took hold around the nation as players and fans and coaches and even cities grew to look up to this 5'9" coach. When you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. But with Mouse, as we've all learned, and those of us that know him and love him, it's way more than a system and way more than just a routine. It's an aura. It's a feeling of supreme confidence that rubs off on every single person who meets him or has the opportunity to play for him. His career now spans 5 generations, from ground zero at Milwaukee High School in 1964, through the hallways and stadiums of the NCAA, the Canadian Football League, the United States Football League, the Arena Football League, and even the bright lights of the vaunted National Football League. His knowledge and kindness have touched record-setting college quarterbacks such as Neil Lomax, June Jones, Andre Ware, and Colt Brennan. And how about Hall of Famers like Jim Kelly and Warren Moon and Barry Sanders? He's also touched the arms and numbers of the Cajun Cannon, Bobby Hebert, Steve Bartkowski, Jeff George in Atlanta, Vince Evans, and the list goes on. And everywhere that Davis went, the records and division titles and championships would fall like dominoes. The entire Arena Football League would be built around the run and shoot, as Davis and Commissioner Jim Foster wrote the rules and designed the playbooks. And of course, there were some famous coaches, like Buddy Ryan, who would battle Mouse's theories all the way to his retirement. But Mouse would eventually win over the older, hardline, defensive-minded coaches like Mike Ditka, our good friend Jimmy Carr, Bill Belichick, Marty Schottenheimer, and many, many more. But one thing that many don't know about Mouse is that while high school and college coaches were beginning to widely embrace his offense, he never withheld information, he never withheld a playbook, he was never short on philosophy. Game film circulated throughout the football establishment, and soon teams everywhere were copying, emulating, or outright running the run and shoot or some form of it. Most coaches would brand that as the pistol, the spread, or somehow their own, and somehow Mouse would just famously smile at their success as they took the credit. But that leads to my final point about Mouse. He goes against the grain not only of football X's and O's philosophy, but especially in how he treats others. He maintains a constant open-door policy with his players. He defines the word optimist. He never overtasks, but he always overloves. And while most coaches utilized fear, Mouse insisted that the game be fun at every single level. If you've ever had a chance to be around Mouse Davis, my mother used to tell me that love is a 4-letter word spelled T-I-M-E. And if that's the case, then based on the amount of time that this man has invested in so much of us, he genuinely must truly love us. And it's such an honor for all of us to share the same stage on the same night with another famous inductee now of the class of 2013 of the AAA Football Hall of Fame. What an honor to introduce my friend, my mentor, Darrell Mouse Davis.
Can you believe that bullshit? Hey, that's great. Where you going, little kid? Get up here. David, that was priceless. You're very... If you're the only competition, I'm home free. Hey, what do you think about this little stallion right here? She's something. She's great. I want to introduce you to her biceps. Look at those guns. I'm serious. Now, I don't care, boy. Let me tell you this. I've seen her with unclothed arms.
Oh,
we stopped at arms.
That part's true.
And let me tell you what, this little girl can play the game. I know that. You know, don't you, big boy, huh? You might have gotten 75 sacks. Doesn't matter to me. This is my lady right here. That's great. Hey, this is really special. This is nice. David, you overdid it, you know. I mean, truly. Any success I had in football? Always the great kids I had. Oh, I mean, truly. There's no secret to it. I find that if I get a really good quarterback, I become a lot better coach. If I can get a real good quarterback and some real good receivers, I am really a good coach. If I can get some big old honkers up front, thank you very much. Like pork chop? Yes, sir. Then we can tee it up and go. You got to have them, okay? Then it becomes relatively simple to be an offensive genius. Why does that happen? Because you got really good players. And I've had some great players over the history of my career. I just want to tell you about some of the guys that I've had. That all you guys can relate to it, all you players can relate to it. I had a kid in Detroit when I was coaching with the Lions that was playing running back for us that had absolutely no talent. But I took Barry and I said, son, if you can just follow what I'm telling you, you're going to be great. Barry, always the optimist, said, well, what'd that be, coach? Said, do exactly what you want to do when you get the ball. And Barry did exactly what he wanted to do when he got the ball, and he's spectacular. There are some people that are freaks. Did you know that, Doc? Some people are freaks. And I used to tell Barry, I said, Barry, you're a freak. And he said, Coach, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I said, in your case, that's a real good thing. There are some talents that are so spectacular in football that are just absolutely off of the chart that you can't hardly screw it up as a coach. But you can really help them as a coach. I mean, you give them a plan that really works, then I think you got a chance. You know, I want to make sure, when you're talking about all the people, we got Rick Ross. Where's Rick? Did Rick leave already? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. She could whip me. No question about it. Okay, Rick's gone. Rick's the manager over here. What a great job he does for us. And Brandon, I know he's here. Brandon O'Neill, that's the pro. First thing I did, he runs this operation. The first thing I did when I got here, he took me out and gave me a little, didn't probably help me, but chipping and putting, you know. But he tried, and that's a special thing. But he's a great guy, and all these guys there's so many people here that are so involved in the operation, and I say my hat's off to you. I mean, there's some great kids. This kid right here, Nate Lewis, I mean, you ought to be very, very proud of that young man. I mean, he comes to play the game. He's got great talent. Could he play the game? Hell yes, he could play it. But, you know, you still have to have an opportunity to do the deal. And that's exactly what happens. So many guys that are playing at this level, for whatever reason, didn't quite get the opportunity to do the deal. What's the deal? Whatever the highest level is. What do we all aspire to? NFL. Now, how could a little pissant like me coach in the NFL? Well, because I had some real good players. I had Barry, and I had Jimmy, and all those guys, and they make you great. And they're great players. And you believe in them, they believe in you, and it's just the greatest operation. Well, Nate can play the game. And he is a very, very good player. And I'm not just talking about a quarterback. I'm talking about a guy that can lead the troops, a guy that you need. When I first got Jim Kelly, now this is serious. Jim Kelly could not tell you the difference between a strong side zone, two-corner roll, man blitz. He had just come out of the University of Miami. I said, Jimmy, what's the deal? How did you, in college, how did you handle the blitz? Now, Howard Schnellenberger was his coach. He said, well, here's what happened, coach. If they were blitzing, Howard would whistle. And I knew they were going to blitz. I said, Jimmy, you're kidding me. He said, honest to God, coach, that was it. Now, why is that? Usually it's because somebody didn't teach them to understand it. Jim Kelly's not a dumb kid, but he had never been taught to do it. Could he do it? Obviously he could do it. Did it for Buffalo and did a great job. Tougher than an old shoe boot. I mean, he's just a tough, great kid, but he'd never been taught. Once you teach people, they can do anything. And when we were in, Jimmy was our quarterback, we're in Houston, and McGuire, the guy from ESPN, he said, I'm going to go back to Buffalo, and these guys are going to wonder, how do you run this offense? And I said, well, what we do is we just get the kids and we teach them exactly all the things they have to do against the various defenses. So you get like 5 or 6 different combinations you have to do. It's not a big thing. So he goes back and he tells the Buffalo coaches what we're doing. And the Buffalo coaches say, oh, you can't do that. The kids aren't smart enough to do that. I said, you're wrong. You aren't smart enough to teach the kids. The kids are smart enough to learn anything. You teach now, they're all doing it. Everyone's doing it. Suddenly the kids got smarter. I don't think so. Kids are the same smart kids they always been. Now there's a difference in ability, obviously. I mean, from one to the other, no question about it. You know, I got some other people I got to introduce when I'm here. Steve Johnson and his lovely wife. Would you stand? Oh, now, Steve's a big golfer. Debbie said, I don't care. Stand up there, children. There's 2 of my good buddies. And the other guy right there behind him, Al Keeker. You know what? Stand up, Al. Come on, what the hell? You know what they call him, Keeker? He is a Keeker. That's what old Al is. He's also a superintendent of a golf course. And my own son, and he's no taller than I am, sorry, Bradley, and his love, Janet. They're the best. You always got to introduce the best people that are in attendance, and they're the best. These people are the best. I've been so fortunate to have great people in my life, and and a part of it, I've only been coaching for 56 years. I only had 56 years of coaching. And you know why I can't coach anymore? Because nobody wants me. You're way too old. That's okay. That's all right with me. What the hell? But that's the truth. You know, it is fun. And football is the best conduit. It's the best sport. That's why you guys are all playing. That's why you get inducted. Football is different than any other sport. When I was in college, I played basketball, not very well. Baseball, a little better. And football, not particularly well. But when I go back to a union, you know who I meet up with? All the football players. You know who my best buddies are that are still as old as I am? You understand that, Doc? You know, they're all, yeah, you understand. They're the greatest. The camaraderie. You know, when you put it on the line as a football player, it's the best. When you enjoy the fruits of victory, that intensifies it. That's great. Jay David's got his team going now. And they've done a great job. And I've been out with them 2 or 3 nights, and they're great kids. One of the receivers here a while ago, is he still there? Where is he? Where's Rashad? Rashad, stand up and smile, baby. Rashad can play. And he's a great kid. Works his fanny off, does it, and he can play. I've seen a lot of receivers. Rashad can play. And we got some guys out there that are not going to make it to another level. Rashad can. Will it happen? Who knows? There's a million guys out there, and a lot of them that can really play, and you have to have the right break and all that stuff. But some can make it, some can't. Doesn't make him any less of a person. Rashad, I go to war with him right now. I know that we can go out and we can score. You like him, Nate? Absolutely, Nate likes him. That's one of my guys. That's the key. And there's no question about it that when they tee it up together, you get a little extra bond. Now, sometimes, in fact, that's the only reason I feel a little sorry for ladies. There are no other reasons, because ladies, believe me, I love y'all. But you don't have the chance to play football. Now, there's some, they're starting a team in Portland, calling, I can't remember what they call them, but a little girl called me, said, would you help us, Coach? I said, I'm not sure about that. But, you know, I give you any information I can give you, but you're on your own when it comes to playing. I'll root for you and all that stuff. But if it's boys, men, I can relate to that a little better, just like we all can. But football is the best sport in America. The Coyotes are a part of that. I love it for that. All you guys are getting inducted tonight, you're the best. Because I know you've laid it on the line. That's the only way you're here. Pork chop, you're my man. That's right, baby. And you know Pork Chop's a winner because all the guys he played with are showing up with him. Does that tell you something? Absolutely. That little fella right there, now this is an unbelievable stat. 75 sacks in 3 years. Yeah, that's what I said. Holy moly, mother. 75, I like it. You could stumble, fall down, and do nothing. I still like you. Because you already got your 75, baby. And that's part of the key. That's so good. Now, I love being here. I could talk about players. I tell you about Barry. He's the biggest freak ever. I've only had one. Barry, I'll just tell you a couple quick stories. And then I'll try to get off here if it's all right. You, sweetheart. Okay. Barry is about that much taller than I am. See, and that's how much height makes. Then no one cares about that. They said Russell Wilson can't play. Is that ridiculous? You know why? Because he got to throw from there, and the guys that can play have to throw from there. Well, oh, there's 2 inches difference in eyesight. I see. Let me tell you, you can't see over those guys in the NFL anyway. They're all so big, you can't see over. You have to slide, find it, but they can play. Barry, 5'8". Barry, I tell the coaches, take a look in the huddle there. Look at their calves. Look at their thighs. Who's got the biggest calves in the huddle? It's Barry. Barry had the biggest calves, biggest thighs in the huddle, a little old running back. Okay? Barry walked into the weight room. He comes in there and he said, Chris Spielman, who's the most intense linebacker. Would you hold that, sweetheart? The most intense linebacker I've ever been around. But he's just, he worked out 364 days out of the year. He takes Christmas off. He's in working out. And he's pumping the iron, pumping iron. Barry walks in, like normal. He said, Chris, could I try that weight there? Well, Chris said, this is my heavy lifting day. It's a 6-rep day. He said, I wouldn't want to feel good about, hurting you. Well, Barry said, well, you and old Pete over there, you can spot for me, can't you? So I finally talked him into it. Barry crawls on and he goes like this. He puts it up and he goes, oh, that is heavy. I mean, some guys are just freaks. Barry's a freak. And in greatest grit, now you may not know this, and Barry might not want me to tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because we're special here. We're special here. Thank you. Barry had narcolepsy, which means when you get in a meeting, Barry'd fall asleep. That's not a good thing. Like, is anyone falling asleep right now? Because I get off here faster if I fall asleep. Okay, are you falling asleep? I thought you were. I'll get off here very quickly. Okay, so Bear is falling asleep. Told the running back coach, your job in all meetings is to keep Barry awake. Don't tell Barry where to run. He knows better than you or I combined. Just keep him awake because it's not good for the other kids. So that's the way we handled the outstanding running back in America on any given year. I mean, he is unbelievable. He's better than whatever you think he is. He's better. He's a freak. Jim Kelly was a freak. Jeff George, maybe the all-time freak throwing the ball. No one in America can throw the ball better than Jeff George. Sophomore in high school, he could throw a baseball 100 miles an hour. You think he didn't have something different? The great ones have something different in their body. There's no question about it. Hey, I've had enough. Y'all had enough of me? Oh, sweetheart. She is definitely a keeper, isn't she? I like her. She is a great girl. Here's a guy you want to stay on tomorrow. And David. We're rooting for him. And let me say this. You can always tell a great quarterback by the ladies that he marries. Would you stand up, sweetheart? Now you think Nate isn't a quarterback? I say he's a quarterback. And she is now, as we speak, producing the second little Nate. Let's hear it for the second little Nate. That's the best. That's good. I already got one. That's great. Now, Daddy just told me they've never had a girl, well, in two generations, yeah, nothing. 4 sons, 4 grandsons. That's not a bad mark. But I tell you what, the mama's not bad, guys. That's the deal. Hey, let's look forward to a great game. Well, let's look forward to the induction. I know it went a little long early. We're trying to speed it up a little now, but it's the best. And you guys are the best. And this little girl right here, she's going to go home with me. You're the best. I love you, man.
All right, everybody, I'd like to invite you to your feet. Can we get a roaring round of applause for the one and only Darrell Mouse Davis? All right, ladies and gentlemen, while we do have the very unenviable task of following Mouse Davis, it is now time to begin the induction ceremonies. And to help me with this, I'd like to call Commissioner Dick Seuss back up on stage. What we're going to do before we kick off the induction ceremonies, we have some very special tributes that we'd like to do. Number one, we'd like to tell you about Coach Bob Shaw and unveil his coaching shirt in the back. Bob Shaw unfortunately passed away this past year. Dick, can you tell us about him?
Bob Shaw is somebody that I met when I coached over in England. He was a big man, and his passion was soccer, and then all of a sudden he had a job at Alconbury Air Force Base in England, and they had a American football team. You know, a lot of American pilots and people there, and he got involved with it, fell in love with American football, wound up being a head coach of the team, took him on to all kinds of victories. Bob was the type of guy, if you met him today, he'd be your best friend forever. I mean, he was the most likable, lovable guy. Never said anything bad about anybody. Players loved him, fans loved him, even the other teams owned him. And he was inducted into our Hall of Fame in 2005 in Las Vegas. He came over with a couple other English guys, and he coached in the game. And then he came over and coached in an all-star game we put on in Miami and Las Vegas. And he was just an upbeat type of a guy. And last time I saw him was November of 2012. He came over for the game in Las Vegas, the all-star game. And I remember him telling me, he said, Dick, I don't feel good, you know, kind of upset stomach. And I said, well, let's go get you some medications, whatever we can, you know. And wind up as he went back home, and he called me about a week later. He said, I've got terminal cancer. And I didn't know what to say. He said he had a year to live, and so I was going to go over, spend time with him. But before I even got there, he died early. And his job at the Air Force Base, he was in charge of security. He had guard dogs that he trained, you know, searching for different things. Anyhow, when they had the funeral, they had over 1,000 people, and his casket was in the back of a cart. Did you ever see the funeral for John Kennedy, where they had the horses? And that's the type of procession he had. I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the chapel, and so we want to honor him. We've got his jersey back there. We're going to leave it here. Eventually, it's our plan to have a permanent Hall of Fame. I think I told you, here in the Palm Springs area, and that's one of the things we want to put in it. And I love the guy, and I miss him.
And may God rest his soul. And we also are bringing up Mr. Andrew Ellison.
In 2005, when we had our Hall of Fame banquet, and we did it in Mesquite, Nevada, we inducted 9 members of the police department and fire department in New York. A lot of people don't know it, but police and fire departments around the nations have teams, just like semi-pro teams, that they do it to raise funds for their various charities. So the biggest game every year in New York was when the fire department played the police department. I mean, they'd pack the stadium. It was a big thing. And when 9/11 happened, one of the star players on the fire department, which their department was real close to the 2 buildings, went into that building, the first building, brought a lot of people out, saved their lives, and everybody said, okay, now you can't go in that second building. You know, the plane has hit it, things are falling apart, but he wouldn't listen to anybody. Went back into that building and lost his life. And I'm going to turn it over to a man who knows him, and he can tell you about the things he's done. He was a movie actor, and he's just a great guy.
Good evening. My name is Coach Ellison. Please excuse me. I'm going through a little problem. But 2011, September, I can't talk about the tribute guy until I just run through 2 guys who were members of the New York City Fire Department football team, coached by the legendary Pudgy Walsh, one of my greatest pains in the butt. Bronco Pearsall, Notre Dame University, CW Post. Brooklyn King, played for me, played for Pudgy, perished 9/11. The player that played at Desert, what is this? College of the Desert, was a man who I seen play and gave me fits, was a teammate of an inductee tonight, Sean McGlynn, another pain in my butt. A man by the name of Danny Sauer played at College of the Desert. He perished. But the guy, when I got the call from Dick Seuss that I was inducted into the 2005 Hall of Fame with my teammate, 75 sacks, and Coach McGee, I'm the guy that tries to make everything better. And I went to work and said, I know how I can heal the wounds of 9/11, which I'll never do. But I created the Fallen Heroes Hall of Fame for the members of the New York City Fire Department, New York City Police Department, and the New York Transit workers. The cops and the fire department had that team. But on that day, Pudgy Walsh, my arch nemesis, lost over 50% of his rostered players, members, trainers, coaches. Think about it. I didn't lose 3 players that I knew. I lost a brotherhood. But the one guy that I always admired from the Brooklyn Kings was my mentor, Al Glasgow, the owner of the Brooklyn Kings, 1990 national champions, was his son, Keith. Keith played at Delaware University, New York Jet, and movie star, like Coach said. Keith was a role model, great kid, and I would be proud for him to be my son, just like my boy here, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, 9/11 was a tragedy, and we have an inductee tonight, Coach Martin Evans. His son was one of the first troop groups to leave to go over and start that war. We should pay homage, and I would like to energize and pump energy into our fallen heroes, Heroes Hall of Fame again, because I think we should keep acknowledging and never forget 9/11, because I never will. And I'm proud to be a minor leaguer, even though I never got to the top. I'm where I need to be, and I love you all. And all you guys, thank you for the prayers. Somebody bought me my patch. Thank you, Coach. And this guy here, he's been putting up me for 27 years. And
just what the Keith was.
go.
All right, thank you so much for those tributes. And now we'd like to present the 2013 AAA Football Hall of Fame inductees. I will let Dick hand out the certificates as I call up Mr. Radden as our first inductee in the 2013 AAA Football Hall of Fame. We're getting the certificate tomorrow.
Okay. So we'll go to.
He's coming up.
He's bringing a lot of his players over to play tomorrow because he knows how to beat the SoCal Coyotes. David Miller must think that we fell asleep when we put this team together because he doesn't know what he's going to be facing tomorrow. Anyhow, this man is a legend in semi-pro minor league football in Southern California. Say hello.
Thank you. I want to thank Dick Seuss. I want to thank Hall of Fame, David, everybody here. You know, I heard Miles say about football, what it meant for him. For me, it meant a lot because my mom died when I was 12 years old. And I remember, you know, being angry at the world. And I had an uncle who said, you're going to have to do something about that anger. We got to figure out what to do with it. And he said, you're going to have to play some football. And I looked at him, I said, I'm not playing no football. He said, either you're going to play football or I'm going to whoop your butt every day. I said, where's that uniform at? So, but I just want to thank everybody for the induction. I want to thank all of you guys, all the guys who are being inducted. We have a tough task with the guys that we service. These young men have go through a lot. Like you said, they come out, they work, they come out on Saturday and they play, and there's not a lot for them to get, you know. And I've been doing it for a while. I started out Pop Warner with a code, discipline, determination, and dedication. And here I am now, you know, 10, 15 years later, using the same code with these young men, and it's changing lives. So I thank the Hall of Fame. I thank Dick Seuss. I thank everyone for the induction.
And now we'd like to present Frederick Washington with his 2013 Hall of Fame induction.
You know, I remember getting a phone call yesterday morning from this man and his partner, who we will meet in a moment. They're from Louisiana, okay, New Orleans, and he wanted to know where we were practicing, and you know, they wanted to see what we were doing, and we got together, and we all went out last night to a Mexican restaurant, and you know, a Louisiana guy eating Mexican food, and there's some big problems there, okay. But this man's got a very interesting history in this sport, and I'm going to let him tell you about it.
And I hope he finishes it with Go Saints.
Who that? First, I'm honored to be in presence of such greatness. And I attended Alcorn State. My college coach told us after every practice, greatness has nothing to do with selfishness. And this is a prime example. For us to turn around and give ourselves to young men, you can't be selfish. You have to share yourself forever to be inducted into something like this here. It didn't start yesterday. It probably even started in your mother's womb. This is great. And I feel honored, blessed to be accompanied by people such as yourselves. And when I get back to New Orleans, I will let them know I met the #1 Seattle fan. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Next up, Wayne Warsaw.
Wayne, here's your certificate, and tell us a little bit about your playing career.
Okay, I'm honored also. It's amazing to be part of this. Thank you. And since we're on this topic,
That was a heavy hand, though, I'm telling you. It took a lot of effort.
Hey, I'm trying. I'll try to keep it under 20 minutes. I had a presentation, but I can't do it. But seriously, I'm honored to be amongst this room, this group of men and women. Many coaches I played for here, Coach Ellison, thank you for the nomination. Thank you for my wife for supporting me for all these years, my #1 fan. My mom, my sisters, my brother, they're here today. Took a long flight, and my sisters and mom took the drive across the country from New York to be here for me. All right, thank you. Yep. I know some of you might think I'm a kick returner, but I can dance. I'm a left tackle. I can dance. And I'd also like to thank my 4 little cheerleaders over here.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, thanks, everyone.
Next up, Steve Seeley. Steve, come on down.
Played for the Phoenix Outlaws for 14 years under John Polchin. Very honored to be here with everybody in the 2013 class. Basically, my time up here is to thank the people who helped me get here. First, my mom, who's been there since I put on a helmet and shoulder pads. My son, who is 11 years old, who gave up me going to Arizona while I lived in California to give up his lacrosse games and basketball games because he knew how much I love football. My girlfriend, who gave up 2 years of the weekends of me traveling from California to Arizona to come play. I'm just honored to be here with all of you. And to John Polchin, who allowed me to move to California and come in and just play on the games on Saturdays. And I have to tell a quick story about that. The only way that I would come back when I moved to California was I asked John if he would please take a vote, and it had to be a unanimous decision from all the team to let me come back without just playing the game without practicing. So John said I would do that. So the first game, I'm in the locker room, and I said to the guys, wow, that's amazing that you guys voted for me, and it was a unanimous decision. And the one guy said, what are you talking about? I said, John was supposed to ask you guys. No, he come in and told us, Steve's coming back, he's playing in the games. If you don't like it, come talk to me. So thank you for that, John. I'll never forget it. Thank you.
Unanimous to a committee of 1. Congratulations, Steve. And now I'd like to bring up the 57-year-old young Henry Roop, who's a big fan of green smoothies, just like myself. It keeps the body young.
I have to tell you, I've communicated with this guy for about a month before this all happened, and he's one special person. He is one special person. He's got a motor that never stops, and I think you're on something, and because nobody 57 years old could have a motor going 24 hours a day.
Pardon my northern accent. I wanted to write my induction talk, so make sure I could say it completely. But is it there? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Go, Henry, go.
Wait. Okay.
I'm just trying to hold hands with you.
I want to start by saying that I'm sincerely thankful for being one of the nominees tonight for this special honor. It is not me, but the work of my incredible coaches and teammates that has brought me to this place. I humbly accept this award on behalf of all the men who have played the great game of football in the great state of Mississippi and the United States. Our goals are the same as yours, to work hard every day to become the best football player we can be, but most importantly, become a better person in life because of the game we all love so much. All people need heroes that they look up to. The Emmitt Smiths, the Troy Aikmans, the Walter Paytons, the Bear Bryants, and Tom Landrys, as well as many other NFL players and coaches were our heroes. We as players admire the athletic skills and attributes they have exhibited both on and off the field. Their kindness and humbleness towards others was their greatest strength, and their toughness on the field was second to none. We as players from Mississippi and the South have a great respect for our parents who work for minimum wage and never totaled close to $1 million in a lifetime, much less $1 million in a season. As their hands wither as time goes on, we realize more that they did it all for their children. They taught us respect for the elderly, our country, church, discipline, hard work, and so many other things in the South that our culture is known for that we're blessed to have. In closing, I want to very humbly say thank you for this induction. I accept this very special award on behalf of all my coaches and teammates through the 45 years that I've played football, that I've had the pleasure of playing with and under. And to finish my closing, one of my favorite sayings from Vince Lombardi is the championships, the money, the color, all of these things linger only in the memory. It's the spirit, the bonds, the blood, the sweat, along with the will to win. These are the things that endure.
Well done.
57 years old. We were playing a little game at practice yesterday. We had 3 groups, and it was a competition, you know, to see who would finish first. And this guy was beating a lot of young football players. Yeah, he's one hell of a football player and one hell of a man. God bless you.
It's awesome. All right, up next for this 2013 Hall of Fame induction is Michael Mora. Michael Mora, come on down.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank God. 34 years in cleats and pads, a long time. Been a long road, a lot of bumps and bruises. Have a lot of metal in my body. Like the $6 Million Man. So a lot of you youngsters don't know who that was. Played since 2000 for Jerry with the Santa Fe Sting out of New Mexico. 17 years in the league. I always say, any linebacker that says that they don't get hurt in a game is lying to you, because you get sore. But I always say, Jerry always asks me, hey, what makes you the way you are? I say, you know what makes a good linebacker? Total disregard for your body. I played for the Santa Fe Sting out of New Mexico since 2000. So, but anyway, it's quite an honor. Yeah, what a way to go out. Tough to hang up the cleats, like I said, but what an honor. I really appreciate all of this. What a great venue, very professional, and very thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linebackers are a special breed. Up next, Michael McMahon. Easy for me to say.
I've known this guy for quite a while. I've coached with him. I've worked with him. He was a fantastic quarterback in his days of playing semi-pro football up in the Seattle area, and he was a natural to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. So,
thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. First of all, I would like to thank the committee and the inductees for allowing me to be here today. This is such a huge honor. I never played college ball. A lot of you guys did. I got picked up with a Sandlot football team. Guy said, hey, we're having a hard time trying to catch you running around back there. Russell Wilson got nothing on me, baby. That's what I'm saying. I learned my trade from Fran Tarkenton, real school. Okay, so again, this quarterback kept this big, huge guy who played tight end, kept chasing me around. And his wife finally said, why don't you ask that guy to play semi-pro football? And he's like, yeah, right. I can't stand that guy. I don't want him on my damn team, man.
Weird that Seahawks fans are pugnacious. Yeah. Huh.
Go figure. We're like Niners. So I went up to this tryout, and there was 8 quarterbacks. There was 250 people on this team. And I walked out, and there was 8 quarterbacks. 7 played Division I college football, and there's me, 5'10", looking at all these guys, 6'4", 6'5", going, yeah, right, why am I even here? But Steve Myers saw something in me. Ex-Seahawk, there you go. Sherman Smith, Ron Howard, Richard Harris were my coaches the very first year I tried playing semi-pro football. They were all ex-Seahawks. And I walked out, and Steve Myers apparently saw something in me that I didn't know I had. And after I made all the cuts, and he basically broke me down into a shell of a man and taught me every bit of footwork that I could ever learn, and taught me mechanics, taught me footwork, and that's what I have translated into a 15-year career, now a Hall of Famer, and a coach of kids and semi-pro and high school for over 30 years of my life. And I have been able to pass on the knowledge that that coach gave me because of the chance that I got. I felt the responsibility to turn around and turn into a coach, because I got an opportunity I should have never got. I should not be standing here in front of you guys. I do not have the credentials you guys have. I played 15 years, won 3 championships, whoopee-doo, undefeated season, 16-0. I didn't play college. You know, I shouldn't be here, but I am. And I'd like to thank my wife, who is home listening on Team 1010.
Thank you for that plug.
You're welcome. I work in the radio biz. I know how it works. My wife, my son Anthony, and my daughter Catherine are at home in Seattle listening to me right now on the radio. I am fortunate enough right now that my daughter, my grandson, and my son-in-law, along with 3 guys that I've coached for quite a while, are here. And if it wasn't for the fact this was down here, my daughter couldn't be here. She lives in San Diego. She done ditched the Seattle thing. I don't know what's up with that, but we can work on that. So I would again like to thank you. I've taken enough of your time. Thank you so much for this honor, because I definitely, out of all of you people, I am the least deserving to be here. So thank you very much, and go Hawks.
Thank you.
You know, the thing about Mike, he's such a great guy. He's the type of guy, if you were 50 miles out in the country and your car broke down and called him at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he lives 150 miles away, he'd be there to help you out. That's the type of guy he is.
God bless him, even if he is a Seahawks fan. Up next, Sean T. McGlynn. Sean T., come on down.
I'm very humbled to be acknowledged in the minor league system like this. Coach E, thank you for the nomination. Coach Anthony, appreciate everything. Dick, I know you know Pudgy very well, and Pudgy's been a big part of minor league football since 1957. I was lucky enough to be this year involved with Pudgy's 600 win, which is most of any professional college or high school coach. I just want to say that Pudgy's been nothing but a role model to me. He's been like a father to me. Most guys don't get to have a coach like I've had. He's been the only coach our team's ever had since 1957. I played 19 years as a captain for him. We've won 3 national championships, and I'm going to be a Mariner for the rest of my life. I love Brooklyn. Just want to thank my mom and dad who couldn't be here tonight. I wish they could have been. But my main support is my fiancée, Carolyn, who's back there. I love you. And thank you. And I will be ready to play tomorrow. So, and I do think someone has a chance to get that car. Oh. So, if all comes out well. But thank you again, Dick. I appreciate everything.
Congratulations. I think there's a reason Nate Lewis is sitting front and center up here right now. All right, can we get Travis Grobes? Travis Grobes, come on down.
Come on down.
Travis is bobbing and weaving through traffic. He's at the 20. He's at the 10. Here he comes at the 5. Will he score? Travis gets into the end zone. Congratulations, Travis. Come on down. Oh, he's getting the podium. I see.
You're right. That's how we do it in PA. Honestly, guys, and everyone here, I'm honored. None of us in this room today could make it to this level and do what we do by ourselves. I mean, football in itself it's the ultimate team sport. It's the only sport in the world where you rely on the person next to you to do your job, to do their job. And if they do their job right, we all succeed. So for me to be standing here today, everyone else had to do their jobs. I thank every teammate and every coach that I've ever been associated with. I want to thank my 4 children, Marilyn, Tremaine, Travis, and Lawrence, who have sacrificed Saturdays, they sacrificed nights just to be with Dad, to come to my practices and be our water boy and water girl on the sidelines. I want to thank 3 special men that are sitting at that table right there. Back starting in 1999, I met those 3 men there, and we formed a pack. You know, Dan Lamagna and Coach Gilday, they're like my brothers. Coach Marty Evans, he was my mentor. Man, he's taught me more than I can't repay you for what you've taught me, Coach. You've taught me so much. I will, Coach. I want to thank the real Hall of Famer in my household. The person who actually gave me my football number, which was number 7. I sat down with this woman and I said, "Come with college, what am I going to do?" And I'm going to play some semi-pro football. And she said, "Wear number 7, it's my number." Her name is Jamie Grove. She's standing up right there in the red dress. She is my wife. She has been the ultimate fan. She truly is the Hall of Famer in my heart. I could not be here standing without you. I love you, baby. Thank everybody. So let's tell a little bit about myself. Teams that I played for, played with the Wilkes-Barre Blaze, played with the Scranton Eagles, played with the Southern Tier Green Machine, Northern Tier Bruins, played some 8-man. I've been around, man. I've played and coached just about everywhere, but thank you, guys.
Up next, Kelly Kenyon. Kelly Kenyon is a man with a beard, and I'm sure there's a story behind it.
Yeah, the beard is No Shave November gone crazy.
Uh-huh.
Again, honored to be here amongst a bunch of guys. It's pretty neat to come to a thing like this and see a lot of familiar faces, shake a lot of hands. I'm a head coach and owner of the Glendale Bulldogs out of Phoenix, Arizona with my wife, Teresa. Most of my family's here. Jesse, my oldest son, Nicole, my oldest daughter, Chelsea, my youngest, and then daughter. My youngest boy, who is been the water boy since he's probably 4 years old, couldn't be here because he's holding down a job, so he's working this weekend. I asked my son to present me. I thought it was going to be a presenting thing. No, that's fine. So I'm a little short on words, but I think the biggest honor I have being around a group of men that I've been around, been coaching since '85, so there's just for men in this thing. A lot of white hair that isn't showing right now. But the one thing that I've always told my family that I take the most pride in being associated with semi-pro football was not only the camaraderie and the ability to lead men, teach men, show them how to be family men, but the money we gave back to our community is just astonishing. We've raised probably over $15,000 for kids with cancer, and that strikes home with everybody. I mean, it's truly an honor to be associated with men and women who are willing to give up their time and energy for causes like that. So the football obviously is the biggest part of it because it's the most fun, but raising money for kids like that is really awesome. So it's an honor. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Shout out to Coach Blankenship. I really appreciate the nomination, and thank you very much.
Up next, Bobby Green. Bobby Green, come on down.
First off, I'd just like to say thank you for the nomination. It's a real honor. Not real good with speeches, so I wrote it down, so I'm going to read what I wrote. So.
Just put the microphone.
Okay. To be recognized for playing a sport you love is the highest of honors. I've strictly been a football coach rather than a player for the better part of the past decade, so to hear that I was receiving this induction really caught me by surprise. I thought everything having to do with my personal playing career was over. There have been so many people who have helped and supported me as a player, coaches, family members, friends, teammates, and sponsors. There's not enough time to thank each one individually. However, I hope each person who supported me along the way knows the very special part they played to allow me to be here today. I wouldn't be standing up here right now without them. I do need to take a moment to thank a few specific individuals. The first is the man who was with me when I began playing the game of football. When I was in the 4th grade, my dad introduced me to the sport he loved, which in turn helped me to develop a passion for the game. He encouraged me to continue to play and would not let me quit. I learned why he was so passionate about the sport because I quickly developed the same passion. It was one of many things we had in common. We bonded over our love for the sport, and I would like to thank my dad for introducing me to the game and helping me develop into a player worthy of being inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. I know he would be very proud of the man I am today. Thank you, Dad, and I love you. The last person is the man who was with me when I finished my career as a football player. I would like to thank my coach, Kelly Epley. My father passed away when I was in college, and you helped me during a very dark time in my life when many people turned their backs on me. You saved me, you got me back on the right track, and you helped me regain the passion I once lost for football. For that, I'm always indebted to you. You're not only my coach, but you're my friend and my brother. Thank you.
William J. Gilday. Come on down, William J. Gilday.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be standing here this evening. There's a few people that I need to thank, starting with my wonderful family. My beautiful wife who always supports me. My 40-year-old, correction, 4-year-old daughter. She just acts like she's 40-year-old. Kelly, who's not only my biggest cheerleader on Sundays when we're watching games, but she's my biggest cheerleader in life. And then there's my 5-year-old son, who stands right here, 4'2", lefty throwing, in case there's anybody scouting. Son.
Plays a rocket arm, I'm sure.
He does have a rocket arm, yeah. Or as he says to me, Coach, I prefer if you call me LJ. He's gone Hollywood on me. So, LJ, thanks for letting me live vicariously through you. Continue coaching the young guys as you grow up. And then finally, there's 3 other gentlemen. As Travis said before, those 3 gentlemen sitting back at that table. First with Dan Lamagna, who I watched go from player to coach to team owner. He's taught me that hard work, perseverance, drive, and commitment, you could do anything in life. Then there's Travis Groves. Travis is the poster child for giving 100% of the time. That kid always went and always will go, whether he was playing or coaching. Finally, there was 2 people that were mentors in my life. The first one is the late, great Joe Paterno. The second one is a guy I call Gramps, Pops, Old Man. Some other names I can't say here tonight. But there is one name I can't say, and that's Friend. I could call him my friend. Coach Martin Evans was my biggest mentor in this profession in semi-pro football. He's taught me everything I know, and I could never repay him. All 3 of those gentlemen I can't repay for what they've done. So again, thank you. It's a great honor, and God bless and good night.
Thank you. Well done. Congratulations. That's impressive. He's got props. How about Chase Cockrell? Chase Cockrell, come on down.
I want to thank all you guys out here. This is an honor and a privilege to be associated with such a wonderful group of guys. Thank you so much. I want to thank the Phoenix Outlaws for 10 years. Really? Thank you very much.
You want the podium too?
We're going to leave that alone. Talk about that later. The Phoenix Outlaws for 10 years of the most wonderful years of my life. Thank you so much. To John and Aaron Pocha, my second family. Thank you guys. John, you're more than a coach. You're more like a father. You've always been in my corner. Thank you so much for that. I want to thank my lovely wife, Diana, who forever has always been in my corner. Thank you, baby. I love you. For my biggest cheerleader ever, my daughter, Alexa. I love you, babe. Keep being my cheerleader. I have a teammate over there who was up here earlier, Mr. Steve Seeley, my brother, forever. Outlaws for life, kid. I love you guys. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is an honor and a privilege, and you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Brent Bordenkircher, come on down. Mr. Bordenkircher.
Wow, what a group of people. I can't believe that I'm lucky enough to be associated with each and every one of you. My name is Brent Bordenkircher. I played about 19 seasons in downstate Illinois for 9 different teams and 8 different leagues. When I thought about what I would say tonight, I thought about the one thing that I could pull away from all those years of playing football. And what happened on the field was one thing, and it was great, and it was wonderful. But what happened off the field was even better. To tell you what football did for me, I have to tell you who I was when I started in 1994. And that was a young man who went to a very small high school, had 130 kids in it. We had about 30 on our football team, freshman through senior. And we played a lot of other schools from a lot of other really small towns. Until I played semi-pro football, I never played with or against a Latino or African American. But when I played semi-pro football, those teams looked like the people in this room. And those people stood in line for me for 3.5 hours when my dad passed away to pay their respects. And that's what made it so special to me. Would I have gotten that lesson elsewhere in my life? I guess maybe I would have. But I know this, I didn't have to because semi-pro football gave it to me. And young men today need to learn that the only color that matters is the color of your jersey and the color in your veins. And football gave me that. Thank you very much.
Mitchell Brock. Congratulations, Mitchell Brock.
First of all, before I say anything, I got to give honor to my Heavenly Father and my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, clap that up. Clap that up. Without him, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. And I'm not going to stand here and say all this stuff about me because it's really, believe it or not, this is not about me. I played the game for 20 seasons in 16 years. Out in Texas, we have semi-pro ball year-round. For 4 years, I did 2 seasons a year, a calendar year. But enough about me. Along this journey, there have been so many people who just were there, helped me out, and just did. First of all, I'm from Detroit. The Detroit Junior Buccaneers is where it all started when I was 9 years old. I was a little fat, scared kid who really didn't even want to play. And now I'm just a big, fat kid. But that's a different story. Coach Winfield Pedway taught me how to play this game, and he made a man out of me. And then I went to the Detroit St. Martin de Porres High School. And Coach Greg Carter, I played for the legendary Ron Thompson, who's won more state championships than any other coach in the history of the state of Michigan. And then I went on to Kentucky State University. And at the age of 19 is when I started playing minor league football. Met this good guy right here. I started out with the Michigan Renegades. A guy named Lloyd Clark took me under his wing. He saw something in me, did not even see it in myself. Took me under his wing and showed me the ins and outs of the game. Introduced me to Coach Seuss, who actually nominated me for this. So thank you for that, Coach. My family, my mother, who couldn't be here tonight because her and airplanes don't get along too well, and Detroit was a little bit too. But speaking of airplanes, my sister, she made it. She's the representative for the family. My sister sat in an airport literally all day to make it here today for this, and she made it. My other brothers and sisters, my brother Randy, who was probably my biggest fan, who couldn't be here tonight, he's departed. My mother, who actually put me in football. My stepfather, who's the greatest stepfather there is. All the teams that I played for, all the coaches, I'm not going to go through all of them, but those are just some of the people who helped me out, and I stand here as a representative for, number one, the body of Christ, number two, the city of Detroit, number three, St. Martin de Porres High School, and all these guys here who do what we do. And in closing, I'd like to say thank you all.
Ken Blankenship, come on down.
You know, I've known this guy for several years, and he had a team in Yuma, Arizona. I think that's the hottest place in the world. And he called me up about a year ago and says, I'm moving to Montana. I said, you're moving from the hottest place in the world to one of the coldest. Good luck.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It is definitely an honor to be amongst greatness. And, you know, one of the things that I always try to impose on my players is being good is not enough. What are you going to do to be great? And I try to impose that on in every aspect of their lives, not just on the field, but what are you going to do to be great off the field? And it's an honor to be here. One of the things that I promised my wife I would do is my lovely wife Jennifer standing up in the back. Everything that I've achieved in my adult life is I owe to her. She's the ultimate football wife. We scheduled the birth of our third child around playoffs. Then we had to make a call. It was a cesarean section. We had to make a call to the doctor and say, hey, we need to put this off one more week. We won, and then we had to make a call that week. So going into the championship game, I said, Doc, one more time. He said, are you kidding me? That baby's got to come. But we were fortunate enough to have a beautiful baby. We didn't win the championship, but I had a great, awesome baby. But it was it's been a journey, man. Anybody that has owned a team or coached a team knows the sacrifices that we give for our players and for our communities. And that's the big thing for me, man, is that, hey, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to not just be successful on the field, but also off the field. And I just like to, again, give thanks to the Lord and thanks to my wife for being there for me. Thanks. Love you.
Jerry Archuleta.
Like Dick had said earlier, I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and in 1996 I was a police officer for the city of Santa Fe, and we wanted to play football. I created a game back then called the Fire and Ice Bowl, and we played the fire department to raise money for local charities. And after a while, I got with Michael Mota, who was inducted tonight also, and we decided to put the Santa Fe Sting into the semi-pro league in New Mexico. And don't let Mike fool you. I know he says he's retiring, but he's a linebacker. He'll forget it by in the morning, so I'm fine. But the only way I knew I'd ever be able to be quarterback is if I owned the team myself. So I started the team. I quarterbacked in the team. The Santa Fe Sting is going on its 18th season, and one of the things I had to do last year was I cut a lot of what I call cancerous cells on the football team. We played last year with 16 players. We went undefeated all the way until the championship game. One thing I always say is that football is a family, and a family united can never be divided. We're all a family here tonight. We can never be divided in the cause that we do. Forgive me, I'm an attorney by trade, so I'm going to use some evidence, okay? And I am billing all of you hourly too since I got here, so.
Well, so are we.
Yeah,
so are we.
Yeah, so pay my wife on the way out. But I have to say this quote: "My gorgeous, brainy wife, can you please stand up?" Okay. Coach Davis said, "You can tell a good quarterback by who he marries," right? That's what he said. I'm not that good of a quarterback, I promise. But I do thank the Hall of Fame, the New Mexico Football League, and Football for Myself, getting me out of the streets of Paramount, California, where you either played football to live and get out of the ghetto, or you let it, you succumb to it. I lost a lot of friends, a lot of players that were killed just going through high school. And I'm proof today that we all have our tragic stories, but we can all rise above it. And football is what got me here today. Thank you, God.
Thank you. Well done, sir. All right, Daniel LaMagna. Daniel, are you here? Here he comes.
Just want to thank some people here, Dick Seuss, for recognizing what the NEPA Miners did all the way in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and inviting our crew here today, and all the organizers from the Hall of Fame, a beautiful event. You've heard it a few times tonight. My colleagues here in Scranton, Pennsylvania, who we broke into the profession together in 1996. Marty Evans, who's been a mentor to many, a mentor to me, he's taught me as a player and a young coach what structure and discipline mean in this great sport of football, and I thank you for that. Billy Gilday, a great friend and a great coach to be with. I thank the Hall of Fame, as he lives in Arizona now, to bring us back together again. Meet your beautiful family. It's an honor and a pleasure as always. Travis Groves, who's my teammate, guy who actually tackled him, helped me blow out my knee and get me into coaching. But it's been great to just watch him as a player and develop into a great coach. I'd go to war with him any day. To my family, who I have to thank, couldn't make it here today, but my parents who raised me to be the man I am today, my mom, my stepdad, my dad who's watching up above, my wife Michelle, who, you know, to be in this business for 7 years, I always say my wife's a saint. Behind any good man is a great woman. And my son Braden, who's my whole heart, and the Lord above. Without him, nothing would be possible. Last, I just want to say, you know, around such great talent here today, you know, I had a good career as a player and a coach, but I know there's a lot more talented players and coaches out there. My greatest experience has been as an owner over the last 7 years. We've tried to raise the standards of semi-pro football. My wife here is kind of coming to an end for me. She said to do some soul searching on this trip, and I've been able to do that with this Nationals team that I'm coaching with. Our organization's been compared to being professional like the New York Jets. Dick Seuss helped nominate us as the best new team on the East Coast in 1996, or 2006. And I've learned a lot. You know, it's not about the money or the wins or the statistics, but it's the impact we have on players and coaches, both personally and professionally. And to meet the great people I have again on this trip, I get to do it one last time, and I thank you guys for that, because like some coaches said tonight, it is about the players and the coaches. Thank you.
All right, and I know this gentleman's name. I know his full name, but he need only be introduced by his nickname. The one and only, the guy whose smile lights up the room, Brian Porkchop Golnick. Come on down, Brian.
Okay, why do they call you Pork Chop?
That's a long story. Number one, I want to thank the good Lord, of course. I wouldn't be here without, you know, the good Lord. Number two, honestly, I want to thank our troops and everybody out there that's fought for our country and for our freedom to play this great game.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm here for the same reason everybody, man. I love this game. You know, like my cousin David, man, he brought up today when we were kids. Man, I remember going and buying football cards. You know, when I was little, you know, I wear number 58 because of Jack Lambert, the 1980 Pittsburgh Steelers, when I first started watching football and understanding it. You know, I want to thank all my friends, all my family, my mom, my buddy Scott, all my buddies from Montana that came up from the Bitterroot Blaze. Yeah! And of course, Nate Lewis. Like Coach Mouse Davis said, you know, you surround yourself with great talent, makes you look pretty good, you know. Coach Miller, where's Coach Miller? I love you. Thank you for everything. And that's about it, Rashad. Can't wait till tomorrow, my last game. But thanks for everything, and I love football.
Hey, big guy.
I love football.
And Pork Chop.
There's a man after my own heart right there. All right, Patrick Cole, we'd like to induct you into the 2013 AAA Football Hall of Fame.
All right. I guess I need a podium because I'm the biggest one up here, I guess. I just want to say I want to thank God, because without God, nothing is possible. So when I came up here, I appreciate the applause, but I want y'all to give it all back to God. Second of all, I want to thank a person in my life has given me all my strength besides God. God first, but this is the second person, my mom. My mom is 81 years old. She has a touch of dementia, And she traveled on, she took that plane flight like a trooper. 8 hours. Stand up, Mom. I tell you, my mom has been a driving force. She is the strongest black woman I've ever seen in my life. And I just want to also thank my dad who's looking down on me. Thanks, Dad. He's been taking me to the Redskin games ever since I was 5 years old. And he's been going to see the Redskins ever since they played at Griffith Stadium. And Dad, I just want to thank you. I know you're looking down on me. I know you're proud of me. Thanks, man. Thanks for everything. And I also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, and I want to thank everybody in here. God bless you all.
Chris Rappelson. I've known this guy for a long time. He lives in Washington. He's
Washington State. Seahawks. First, I want to thank God for giving us a chance to play this amazing game of football that we love. And I got to thank my wife for following me around the country, putting up with ball players crashing at our house, and scheduling all of our family vacations around football events. And I got to thank Dick Seuss. Like I said, I've known him for a long time. Played back here in 2005 with him. And I've been on the phone for hours with him. I used to be the commissioner with the NFL when we helped put the Pacific Football League together and started the team that I run now, the Great Harbor Bearcats. I was on the phone with Dick a lot, running ideas by him, how to do it, how can we make this a better team and a better community. And thanks a lot, Dick.
And I'll send you the certificate. Okay, who are the next two? Introduce yourself.
I'm not a Saints fan.
Just don't be a Seahawks fan.
No, I'm sad and proud to say I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, born and raised in New Orleans. My name is Coach Joseph Riley. I was the head coach of Louisiana Hurricanes in New Orleans, and this is an honor for me because as a 5'8" offensive guard and nose guard, nobody wants you. And for a guy who probably considered stop coaching in 1996 because I started coaching kids, 13 and 14-year-old kids, and between 1985 and 96, I had to bury 6 of them that never made it to 20 years old. So for me to be here, besides the birth of my son and my grandson, this is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. So to be involved with all you guys that are here, and myself and Coach Washington over there, we came up from New Orleans, and we're going to be up every year you have it, no matter where you have it. We're going to be here, and I want to thank God and Mr. Suits and all you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. One of my players named Jason Hill, who passed away from leukemia in 2009, got inducted tonight. Jason Hill, a quick story. We were in the playoff games. Our young quarterback that was supposed to show up didn't show up for the game at all. He just got scared and didn't show up. We were playing a tough team. Jason Hill, who had a broken arm, said, "I'll quarterback." And he hadn't quarterbacked in 2 seasons, but he stepped up to quarterback that for us. Jason got diagnosed with leukemia in 2008, passed in 2009. Every year the Santa Fe Sting has an annual game to honor Jason Hill. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame. His widow, Anne-Marie Hill, is here to accept the award on behalf of Jason. I just want to make sure you got acknowledged. Can you please stand?
I'm Cortez Oliver. I played for the Asheville Grizzlies in Asheville, North Carolina. Flew out from Atlanta. Did 7 seasons. Played running back, 10,000 yards, and you know, just glad to be here. I thank you guys for having me. Thank you for remembering me. Oh, all right. I know we had a good time at the Sunshine Bowl in Miami, so and a good time in Disney World, Orlando. The game took us a lot of places, and you know, a lot of good times, good opportunities to help people, and you know, AAA minor league football. People don't understand. There's a big difference between single A, double A. AAA stands by itself. We were the SEC of minor league football, down in North Carolina. We were fortunate enough to be ranked in the top 10 in the nation when I was playing, and I just enjoyed the ride and just feel like this is a graduation. I am Hall of Fame running back, Cortez Oliver. Lord, amen. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Thank my nephew Javed for coming out, and thank my wife for being on all those road trips driving, because living in Atlanta and playing in North Carolina, that's a tough feat, tough obstacle, but we did it. We did it. We had a good time. I think Coach Phil Lytle played a very important role in me becoming a man, graduating to that as well. Just taking, he did a lot more than just football. He did a lot more than football in my life, and without him, I couldn't be here. I couldn't be here because he recruited me at the All-Star game when I was playing for South Carolina Timberwolves at Disney World Orlando. But I met that coach, Coach Ellison. Thank you for you probably don't remember me, but the contract to Italy. Thank you. Oh, good. Thank you for the contract to Italy. Opportunity to go to the NFL Pro Scout Camp Combine with Sidney Rice and those guys. To meet with John Fox. A lot of opportunities. So it's out there. It's out there. So God bless everyone. Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Come on up, big guy. I call him the drill sergeant.
Don't start. Coach Martin Evans, Pennsylvania, proudly. Watch it. Coach Ellison, you're the very best. We are from the old school. Love you, man, forever. Coach LaBarber, I don't know, man. I don't know. I love you, man. I mean, meeting you and coaching with you is a big pleasure. I got to turn this around to my boys in the back. They grew with me as players. They grew into fine young men, fathers, coaches. I'm getting old, damn. But it's what you see as coaches, to be able to be here and talk to y'all and be amongst the greatness here. And to look back there and say, they were this big yesterday, and they're coaching teams today. They're guiding young men, not just on the field, but off the field, with honor, with class, with respect. That's what it's all about for us. And for me, I'm so humbled to look in your eyes, everybody's eyes here, to be able to stand up here right now and be a part of this Hall of Fame. Now, I ain't gonna get all teary-eyed and stuff like that, but I will say this. My heart. It's all about heart when it comes to football. It's all about what you put into football. The integrity, the honor, the respect. And I wish you all, everyone in this room, the very best from this moment on. Because God knows, if I was to die tomorrow, I'd die the richest, proudest man in the world. Bottom line. Bottom line. Danny, G-Man, and my T, so very proud of you. I got to give respect to my children, my 3 children. Marty Jr., Air Force, 18 years, 6 tours over in the war. My daughter Mandy, 33 years old, gave us 2 beautiful grandsons. She's nothing but professional. I mean, honest to God, she's beautiful. She'll be a model. And our Jolene, 33 years old, she is the flamboyant artist from San Francisco and wherever you got that thing going on with the hippies and whole 9 yards. And last but not least, my grandsons. Oh, Lord, I got to say this. 13-year-old grandson that I coached this year, he pulled me out of retirement and said, Pop, we hurting. We had 13 players in the A-team level of mini football, which I started 28 years ago. That's why I started football, 28 years ago with mini football. I went down there, got them around, got a little confidence, boost them up a little bit. We went undefeated and won the championship with 13 players. All right. Last but not least is my Rocco. But right there, standing there, that woman right there, she has given me all my strength, everything that I need in life. She's the most wonderful woman in the world. I love you, baby. Thank you. And thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It's a tough act to follow, all those people. This is a great event. I want to thank the AAA Hall of Fame, the SoCal Coyotes organization, the restaurant, everybody that's involved, the committee, of course. And I also want to say unequivocally that I am a 49er fan. Yes. And I got my start actually in coaching, sneaking into 49er practices when Bill Walsh was their coach back in the early to mid 80s. And the coach that gave me my first start in coaching in semi-pro, his name was Alex Marchand. He's also a AAA member of the Hall of Fame. And I answered an ad and came out to coach for him, thinking I was going to be this, take over the quarterbacks, be an offensive coach. Got out there and he says, "What do you know?" I said, "Well, I know offense, I know quarterbacks." He said, "Great, you're going to coach my linebackers." Not really my personality. I knew nothing about linebackers, let me tell you. But I dove into a book by Jerry Sandusky about linebacking, the Penn State way, and I learned everything I could about it. And we had some great veteran linebackers on that team, and they helped me a lot. And one of the things that I take away from semi-pro football is you are always learning in this sport. I don't care if you're just starting out or if you're going up in the ranks and maybe becoming a professional. You will never stop learning, and you never stop teaching. Because coaching, one thing Alex Marchand taught me was coaching is about teaching. And that's what I saw Bill Walsh do. And I'm just very humble. I'm very thankful that I got this honor. I want to thank Lance Brown for nominating me. He's not here tonight. But thank you very much. And by the way, my name is Coach Tim Mendoza. Forgot to kind of have
It's a
to
great
know
point.
that. Yeah.
It's a great point.
But I want to be able to also say thanks to my 3 kids. They were there with me, you know, traipsing around with the water, helping with the water, helping take pictures, filming the games, all the things that you do. And the other great thing I take away from semi-pro football is the family atmosphere. And those 3 words up there, faith, family, football, that nails it right on the head. That's what it's about. And that's the one place you can go to be a team, to be a family, and to be together. And also, all colors, all races, didn't matter. When there's a game to be played, guys come together and they play. And that's another thing I really take away from it very much.